Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, coming at you with another episode of Nerd Needs, the show where I share with you guys all the things that I need from deep down inside my nerd soul. And children of the screen, you know what I need? I need to know why the fuck there's not a Dino Crisis movie. I mean, really? Come on! Did you see that shit, right? I mean, hell, I know that nowadays that looks blocky as all fuck, but back in 1999, that was dope, okay? So for you guys who don't know, a very easy way to describe this, Dino Crisis is essentially Resident Evil with dinosaurs. I mean, I know, pump the brakes. In truth, it's actually pretty different from Resident Evil, and you know what, fuck it, no, it's Resident Evil with fucking dinosaurs. The first installment in the Dino Crisis series was originally released in 1999 by Sony for the PlayStation console and was developed by the same team behind the horror survival smash hit Resident Evil. Upon release, the game was massively successful, selling over 2.4 million copies and receiving multiple ports. Dino Crisis focuses in on Regina, the fourth member of a SORT Special Operations Raid team sent to investigate the mysterious research facility on Ebis Island after reports of a secret weapons operation being performed within. Once they parachute onto the island, things go sideways fast as they discover, holy shit, there are fucking dinosaurs here! And from that point on, it becomes a mad scramble as Regina tries to navigate the labyrinthine, puzzle-riddled facility, survive brutal encounters with the world's oldest killing machines, and still try to complete her mission. Later, it gets even crazier when we find out that the dinosaurs, and in fact the entire island, have been brought here via time travel. There's just no other way to describe it than fucking awesome! The game was so successful that in 2000 we saw Dino Crisis II, and where Regina would return once again, this time to investigate an entire city transported through time and overrun by dinosaurs. This installment would move away from the survival horror of its predecessor and would focus more heavily on action aspects of gameplay. And finally, in 2003, we received Dino Crisis III, which jumps into the year 2548 and places us on a spaceship fighting to survive against reptilian dinosaur-like monsters. Now, technically, there are another couple of offshoot games and tons of details that I've skipped over, but in truth, we're not here today to talk about the games themselves, but more so, why these games should be made into a film franchise. So here are my top 3 reasons why Dino Crisis should be a fucking movie! There has never been a better time for a Dino Crisis movie. For the last 10 years, the Resident Evil franchise have been massive blockbusters at the box office, okay? Now, I'm not that big a fan of those movies, and I know a lot of other people aren't, but there is a huge fan base for them, and they have made an awful lot of money. And as I said previously, Dino Crisis is basically a more action-focused Resident Evil replacing monsters with dinosaurs. And the Resident Evil movies are 100% action movies, despite the fact they have monsters in them. Let's not bullshit anyone. They're not horror. They are action movies that are cool for the sake of cool. And then beyond the Resident Evil films, we've just seen a huge resurgence in the Jurassic Park franchise. I mean, and after seeing the last movie, Fallen Kingdom, it feels like that franchise is only about a movie away from becoming Dino Crisis itself. You know what I'm saying? So basically, if you take like the last 3 Resident Evil movies and the last 2 Jurassic Park movies and only utilize the best elements of them and try to find like a perfect blend, then what you have is a fucking dope Dino Crisis movie. As I said, the public is primed for this film, so the studio that takes a chance on it stands to make a boatload of money. And now, I'm just talking about the film itself first here. Now, don't get me wrong guys, I personally would love to see a hardcore rated R Dino Crisis film, but I don't really think the studios are going to give us that. So instead, why don't we look at this from an approach of, you shoot the film as a rated R film, knowing that you're going to release it as a PG-13. That way you can get it out to the widest audience possible, make as much money as you can. Knowing then that when the Blu-ray DVD comes out, you're going to be releasing the extended director's cut, unrated cut in that format. So that way, whenever your Blu-ray DVD comes out, you have more buzz generated about it because people are talking about wanting to see this new cut, and at the same time, people who've already seen the movie in the theaters will have a higher incentive to go out and actually buy a physical copy, because the PG-13 version would most likely be the one that would end up on most of the streaming services, at least for the first couple of years. So that way people definitely want to go out and check out the hardcore version of Dino Crisis. Beyond the film itself, just think about the merchandising. I mean, who loves dinosaurs? Kids love dinosaurs. Adults love dinosaurs. Everyone fucking loves dinosaurs. We're talking cheap, inexpensive toys for kids. You're already dealing with like massive sci-fi concepts, so just take all the guns in the movie and turn them into big hulking like 90s comic book style Cable and the X-Force guns that could never exist in the real world. That way you like, you know, take care of that whole thing about gun violence and it being too realistic, and you can still take these awesomely cool designed guns and sell them as toys, which will sell like hotcakes. Kids, adults, everybody would buy that shit as long as you put enough effort into it. And then you got things like t-shirts, plushies, fast food tie-ins, and of course maybe then Capcom will either remaster, remake, or god forbid put out a new Dino Crisis game to coincide with the release of the film. I mean, come on guys, the merchandising profits alone should be enough to get this film greenlit. Because it'd be fucking cool! And we live in the age of cool for the sake of cool. How else do you explain the Fast and the Furious, the Transformers, or the Resident Evil films? And what about Dino Crisis isn't fucking cool? You got time travel. You got beautiful women and big, buff, muscly dudes with giant fucking guns just blowing the shit out of man-eating, crazy dinosaur creatures. And would probably have a tonally clashing soundtrack of angsty, awesome, ass-kicking metal and whatever mellow trill hop kids are listening to these days. And beyond that last point there, what about that doesn't sound fucking cool?
Cretaceous. In an unknown world, dinosaurs and people fight each other to survive.
As you can see, guys, I really need a Dino Crisis movie. And I just don't understand why we don't have one. With all the other video game properties that have been tried to be made into movie franchises that just don't seem like they would ever work, this one seems ripe for the picking. It seems like it has everything Hollywood wants out of a movie right now, and I personally just can't understand why it's not something that's on the table, especially now that the cash cow that is Resident Evil is dead and buried, God we hope. But anyway, guys, that's just what I thought. What do you think? Would you love to see a Dino Crisis movie? What do you think about the things that I laid out in terms of why it would be a good idea? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get updates on all the dope content I'll have coming out in the future. Once again, thank you very much, children of the screen. I hope you all have a good one. Nerd Scum, out.